Alright, here's part 2 of Mazes of Minotaurs Player's Manual. So let's go into the magic system. Now, the magic system in this game, first of all, there's a magical talent, which is the bonuses from 2 of your ability scores added together. And the magical talent has a different name for every class. So Lyris is Orphic Voice, Nymphs is Idyllic Charm, Priest is Spiritual Aura, Sorcerers is Psychic Gift. Now, the other thing you need to know is the Mystic Strength. And the Mystic Strength is 12 plus whatever your magical talent is. And this is the number that other people need to make your saving throws. The magical talent is used for determining things like how long your magic lasts or how many people you can affect. You also have a number of power points, and different classes recover them different ways. So let's get into the spells. Now, the spells have different magnitudes ranging from 1 to 6. And the magnitude is a measure of how many power points you have to use to activate the power. Most classes start with 6 power points, and so this tells you how many power points you need to go up, or how many power points you need to activate the power. So usually a first level character can do their 6th magnitude power once per day. There's first magnitude one 6 times a day, and they could do like the 3rd magnitude one twice a day. It just, depends on how you want to spend your power points. So the priests, their first magnitude power is the power to buff 3 or 4, depending on who your patron is, of the different things you might want to use. Like, for example, Athena can buff defense class, melee attack, mystic fortitude saves, and personal charisma. Now, the second magnitude power is divine vision, which is a form of divination, and it varies in power depending on the situation. The Maze Master will make it tell you a lot of information if he wants to give that to you, and less if he doesn't. So, divine vitality is the healing power. It restores 1d6 plus your magical talent, which is called spiritual aura for priests. Now, the first and 4th level powers are what make priests of different deities different from each other. The 4th magnitude power is the really interesting, powerful one that makes you a priest different from any other. And there are several different powers. Accuracy and victory are pretty much the same thing. You're +4 to hit and +2 on damage. One of them is for missiles, the other is for melee. And in my experience, almost all the priests that people have run have done one of those 2. Now, celerity is something only the Priests of Hermes can do, and it allows you to act first in combat regardless of initiative and improves your movement rate. Now, endurance is something only the priestesses of Demeter and Hestia can do. And basically, it means that you can't die from loss of hit points and you regenerate. So that's an awesome power, but nobody runs priestesses of those 2, so it doesn't get used very much. And presence makes you automatically succeed at mystic fortitude and personal charisma rolls. This could be useful in a political campaign, but it also means the person you cast it on is immune to the gaze of Medusa. Now, strength allows you to automatically succeed at feats of strength, and your wrestling holds cannot be broken. And I've only had one priest who had this power and he never used it. So the fifth magnitude powers is one that allows you to just do damage. 1d6 plus your magical talent, but at fifth magnitude, that's a really expensive power to do, but sometimes there's an opponent who can only be attacked this way, so it's a handy thing to have. And Divine Intervention only has a 2% chance per level to succeed, and I've never seen a player succeed in that role, so not such a good power. But these priest powers mean that a priest could be a decent substitute for a warrior if there's no warrior in the party. But if the priest casts these on a warrior, the warrior becomes really powerful. Now, the elemental spells are different in that the cost of them is double the magnitude. So it takes 2 points to do a first magnitude power, 4 points to do a second magnitude power, and 6 points to do a third magnitude power. And they have powers for each of the elements. And the second magnitude power of Blazing Spear is overpowered. I had to come up with the house rule to cut it back a little bit. And the third one is so dangerous I've only seen it cast once. The water one doesn't, if you look at the words, it doesn't look like it's that powerful, but you have to consider that a lot of Mazes and Minotaurs adventures take place on ship, in which case you would have an opportunity to use these things. As I said, I don't like the Elementalist class. I wish it were not in the book. I wish it were an optional class. Now, the Nymph is the analog of a druid. Priests are like clerics for D&D. Nymphs are like druids, and their powers, there's 6 different kind of nymphs, and some of their powers are the same, some are different. First level 1, Nature Seduction, is like it's a power that makes you immune to being attacked. So it's not really offensive, but it's like Sanctuary. Now, Nature's Guises is a low-level shape-changing ability. You can change your eye color, your skin color, your facial features. And this would be a really handy power to have in a political campaign. Nature's Comfort is healing one, just like the priest one. Nature's Favor. Okay, so I need to explain that Dryads can automatically make their stealth rolls in their natural environment, whatever they're the Dryad. If you're like a forest nymph, then you can automatically make your stealth rolls in the forest. If you're a mountain nymph, you can automatically make your stealth rolls in the mountains. And the fourth magnitude power allows you to share this ability with your friends for hours at a time. And the 2 water nymphs, the river nymphs and the ocean nymphs, can share their ability to breathe underwater. So a consequence of this is that you can have underwater adventures. In D&D, underwater adventures last for a few rounds. The spells that allow you to do that can only last for a few rounds or turns, but here it lasts for hours. And unfortunately, there's only been one underwater Mazes and Minotaurs adventure, which is a real shame because it's such a lost opportunity. Nature's Curse. It varies according to what kind of nymph you are. If you're a mountain or a forest nymph, you can turn people into a rock or a tree. If you're a water nymph, you can make people so they drown. And if you're a swamp or a valley nymph, you can cause ugliness, weakness, melancholy, or folly, which basically affects your attributes. And So that affliction is kind of a weak ability, but in a political campaign, it'd be a lot more powerful. So with their abilities to automatically make stealth rolls in nature and share that ability, this makes dryads not only nymphs not only druids, but also makes them good substitute thieves in the wilderness. But even better, if they share this ability with a thief, then the thief becomes more powerful. Okay, so the 6th level power of nymphs varies according to what kind of nymph they are. If they're a wood or a mountain nymph, they can make a tree or a rock come to life, turn it into a monster. If they're an ocean nymph, they can control the weather, which is a lot more useful than you would think when you have a campaign that's mostly shipborne adventures. Create water is something the river nymphs can do. Kiss of life, the valley nymphs can do, and this is the only class that can do raise dead. And then fatal kiss is something the swamp nymphs can do. Your target gets a saving throw, and you have to kiss them to inflict this, but you don't have to roll to hit to do it. So it's a pretty powerful power there. Okay, now the Lyris. The Lyris power is a really powerful class. It's a great class for somebody who likes making up songs or poems on the spur of the moment. Its 1st level power is a +2 bonus to 6 different modifiers, not 3 or 4 like a priest. Basically all the things that can be modified, the Lyris can do it. And not just to one person, but to a whole group of people. The Song of Freedom it releases you from psychic enslavement, which many of the monsters can do and the sorcerers can do. And it takes 10 points for the monsters to do this to you, but only 2 for the Lyris to give you another save against it. Now, the Song of Soothing allows a Lyris to prevent people from attacking. And the Song of Comfort is a healing spell, but unlike the priests or the nymphs, when the Lyris does it, it heals fewer points, but it heals them in a whole group of people. So it's actually more powerful and more useful. Now, the Song of Wrath, it only does 1 point of damage per round. You can do it for up to 10 rounds. So at level 5, that's a really expensive power to do, but it can be really useful because you can do it to a whole group of people. So I've seen this be lame when the Lyris did it at one target and only did 1 point per round. But I've also seen it be really awesome when there was a whole group of foes and the Lyris is hiding behind the shield wall singing this song, doing 1 point of damage per round to all of the foes. And the 6th level power is the Song of Prophecy, which is more powerful than the priest's divination spell. So it's a really powerful class, but they're the worst class in the whole book at roll to hit, roll damage. They're really bad at that. And that puts a lot of people off. Okay, now the Sorcerer class. In the original version of Mazes and Minotaurs, it was the only magician class. So the Sorcerer, its power, I used to know a player who loved to play Illusionist with Psionics, and he would love the Sorcerer. Their 1st level power is Confusion, like the 5th level Magic User spell. And one of the effects of Confusion is to make the person you do it to surprised, which makes them vulnerable to sneak attacks, which would help a thief. Also, they get a penalty on their saving throws. And you can do it to multiple people. So this is a good power to do to soften up opponents, before hitting with a more powerful spell. Now, illusions. This spell duplicates the effects of all the low-level illusionist spells. Audible Glamour, Phantasmic Force, Dancing Lights, all those minor illusion spells from D&D you can duplicate with this one spell. Now, Cloak is like invisibility 10-foot radius. Not only does the sorcerer make himself invisible, he also makes anybody close to him invisible. So this would be a really useful thing for a sorcerer to help the thief with. So a sorcerer makes a really good substitute thief, but they're even better if they help a thief. Alright, so the 5th level power, Psychic Attack, does damage just like the Priest power. And at 5th level it's expensive, but like I said, sometimes this is the only way you can hurt an opponent. Now, the 4th level power, Compelling, is like Charm Person. So you do this, it only lasts for a little while, but you can do this and then the person becomes your friend, but if you make them do something that'll hurt them, then they get a new save against it. But there's a 6th level power called Enslavement, which is permanent. And the person you do this to will even kill themselves if you order them to. They're completely under your power. But in order to do that enslavement, you got to do Compelling first. So it takes 10 points to do an enslavement minimum. It's so expensive you probably should do Confusion first to soften them up and make them more vulnerable to the spell. Okay, so let's get into adventuring. I think I'll save this for another one.